try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I feel like it was just an excuse of, let me do the abortion on you. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. And then you get in there, he starts rooting around and starts pulling out things that he shouldn't be pulling out, and this and that. And it's like, I killed her.
The connector cord goes to the dad code here.
Yeah. I meant to remove the gas injector, but I accidentally took her spark plugs out. And by spark plugs, I mean her heart.
It's like, I thought you were a doctor. What? What's a doctor?
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Shadows and Sightings, a paranormal comedy podcast where we talk about all things spooky. I'm Taylor.
I'm Nick.
In this week's episode, we've got a pretty fun one here. This is Nick's idea this week, talking about the Human Fiend, which was a sick nickname for him, even though he's a sick bastard.
He really was.
Yeah. America's first serial killer, H.H. Holmes.
Old-fashioned H.H. Holmes.
And I didn't know shit about H.H. Holmes until you brought this up. Yeah, no?
Yeah, his dude's out there.
Yeah. Professional con artist, professional psycho.
Doctor, con artist, probably a businessman.
Yeah,
I would say
in the very loosest sense of the word.
Yeah, I mean,
he had businesses, but none of them were legit.
True. Which is why I guess, con artist.
Yeah, he's a professional con artist.
Yeah. Good old fashioned. I forget how long ago it was when I first heard about H.H. Holmes, because when you hear about serial killers from back in the day, the iconic one is Jack the Ripper is typically the one that is referred to as like the first mainstream serial killer, which in some ways he pretty much was, but at least in the United States, H.H. Holmes was like our first.
Some people even thought H.H. Holmes faked his own death and left the country and became Jack the Ripper. Which was disproven. We'll get that out of the way at the top of the episode.
Yeah, okay. And then, I thought H.H. Holmes happened, or Jack the Ripper happened before H.H. Holmes.
No, surprisingly.
Was it afterwards?
I think Jack the Ripper was more 1900s.
Really?
Or late 1890s, something like that.
So like 20 years after H.H. Holmes
was
1860s, I think.
Somewhere. He was 1880s, I think.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere in that price range.
Yeah, I mean,
the timelines do add up. Like, it was H.H. Holmes, and then he dies, and then like 20 years later, Jack the Ripper
shows up,
really getting a hold on, no pun intended, a stranglehold on English culture.
And they know, and I guess like the theory behind it was like it's a known feat or known thing that Jack the Ripper was like more than likely medically trained, because the way that he was like eviscerating, some of these.
I would say Jack the Ripper was way more brutal than H.H. Holmes was.
I think H.H. Holmes was more just
secret dastard.
Kind of, like elusive about it. Not to say that Jack the Ripper wasn't elusive, but
because he never got caught.
Yeah, but no, H.H. Holmes was more in the public eye kind of thing, whereas like
it was more scientific, I guess.
More calculated.
Whereas Jack the Ripper was just straight brutality.
Yeah.
Ripping people's entrails out. Crazy stuff.
Should do next week's episode on Jack the Ripper.
Get into a true crime serial killer podcast.
Comparison. But yeah, so, all right, well, tell me, you didn't have, well, I guess before, we kind of like dive in, did you want to drop in our plugs?
Yeah, we'll drop our plugs, keep the lights on around here.
Yeah.
If you're first-time listeners, thanks for joining us. If you have listened to the episode before, thanks for coming back and hanging out with us again. But as you guys probably know, if you've listened before, you can find us on social media: Facebook, Shadows and Sightings, a paranormal podcast; Instagram, Shadows and Sightings Pod; or send us an email, shadowsandsightings@gmail.com. Always looking for feedback on everything that we do.
Yeah.
Everything we do.
Do I not tie my shoes efficiently?
Is Nick driving too fast when he goes to Target?
Am I driving too slow when I go to Target?
Is he buying the wrong kind of talcum powder?
What is the best detergent to use when washing my clothes?
I'm a Tide guy. I like Tide.
Or Arm & Hammer.
Are you an Arm & Hammer?
Arm & Hammer dye free.
I'll tell you, the detergent to me doesn't matter because once you throw it in the dryer, it's all about the fabric softener. That's the scent that's going to last.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I guess, yeah.
So, I mean, if you can coincide that it's the same scent on both, you're doubling up. But I'm a Tide OxyClean guy.
OxyClean is nice.
And then I'm a Gain fabric softener.
Yeah, sure.
Are you sheets or liquid?
We're sheets,
Yeah.
but
Hell yeah.
But recently we haven't been because with
allergies
and all that, so we're kind of
possible allergies.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But in a perfect world, sheets all the way.
Sheets.
Yeah.
Let us know your preference of fabric softener out
Who's
there.
Out there using liquid.
That used to be a thing, man. You put the liquid, like my washer is from the 1700s, and but there's like a little thing in the middle of the agitator, I guess is what it's called.
Oh,
where you pour the fabric softener in. And,
yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I've used it before, and I don't use it anymore now because sheets are nothing. Because where we live, if in the wintertime, there's just way too much static, and fabric softener, the sheets are a great way to prevent static on your clothes. If you didn't know.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
cool.
If you're less staticky in the winter, it's because you're using fabric softener.
Nice.
Good for you, person.
Yeah.
But let us know what you prefer out there. Let us know in the comments of the episode. Yeah, I think that's it for our plugs for the social medias. And then, if you're here more than once, our infamous intro. We got to talk about some shit, before we get into the cryptids, into the spooky stuff, into the hauntings, into the serial killers now. We got cryptid corners to talk about. Anything exciting happen this week? Any good stuff happen? We got a beautiful summer day outside today. It's crazy.
So that happened. Yeah, the weather's nice. That's dope.
Maybe remember, I sent it in the group chat. We have a hiking club.
Oh, yeah.
That never caught on, but I want it to catch on, damn it.
Yeah. Yep.
Just quick day trips. Just a couple hours out on the trails, out in the woods.
Out in the boonies. Modern boonies, not too far.
Yeah. Hanging out, getting out on the...
Come back chill.
Have a beer. Have a cigarro.
Stop at Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Get a mean stack.
maybe a pint of ice cream.
Oh. On said mean stack.
Ooh. You know what? That probably would be like if you just had some waffles and made it like an ice cream sandwich. I could fuck with that.
I was just thinking like a triple stack of waffles and then like a la mode.
Yeah, a scoop of ice cream on top.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But hear me out. 2 hot waffles. It's like a waffle cone, only put a little ice cream in the center, like a sandwich. Ooh. Little chocolate chip waffle action with a scoop of homemade vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
I might have just come up with something.
Maybe. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll catch on.
Yeah.
kind of push forward. But yeah, no, it's been pretty quiet.
Quiet week.
I can't complain.
Same here.
You just need weeks like that.
Oh yeah.
It's not a whole lot going on. Just chilling, taking it one day at a time. I'm ready for this pool to get back up out back.
I know. I never took mine down, so I'm a little worried, but
yeah.
I'm just hoping and praying that the filter didn't bust during this incredibly cold winter we had.
True.
Otherwise, it's almost time for the first mow of the season, if you can believe it.
Brittany, I think, already mowed.
Oh, you made her mow? Come on, Nick.
I didn't make her mow. She's like
she just wanted to get out there and do it.
Yeah, we fight over mowing the grass because
it's just therapeutic.
It's therapeutic, yeah. So
I get that. There's times where I'm like, I'm excited to mow this grass, and then there's other times like, God damn it, I gotta go mow the grass.
Yeah, I got mad. I was like, man, you beat me to it, damn it! Like I wanted to cut the grass.
I have a feeling with gas prices, this is going to be one of those years where I'm going to be like, damn it, I gotta mow the grass again.
You got an
electric mower.
Electric Craftsman thing is fire.
Yeah, my yard's too big to have an electric mower.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm stoked. Summertime's coming up. Second favorite time of year.
Yep,
behind the fall.
Yeah, it's like a half. It's like a 50-50. Like I love summer for what it is, but then there's something about that hot cup of coffee with a crisp, maple donut on a fall day with like the leaves starting to change and that cigar.
We had a leftover fall wallflower. It was the pumpkin pecan waffles from Bath and Body Works scent.
Yeah.
We put it in the bathroom. It's like walk into the bathroom. It's like, oh my God, I miss fall. I miss it so much.
It's coming. It'll be here, man. It's going to be great.
I'm in no rush, though. I'm going
to enjoy summer.
What's your favorite summer flavor of things? Like, you got maple, you got pumpkin spice in fall. What's your favorite summer flavor?
Might be dipping into the stereotype here, but
don't you say watermelon.
But no, fuck that. I was going to say, man, I love me a nice cold Corona with some salt and lime on the...
Oh, you're going to your Hispanic side.
The Hispanic side. The Hispanic...
yeah, Corona.
Corona with some lime and salt. It's probably like my...
Is that technically a chelada or something? Or chelado or
whatever you call it? I think it's just there's a Mexican restaurant over by Vejita Grande. I think it's Vejita Grande, over by the Dutch Market, or where Green Turtle used to be.
Oh, yeah. Green Turtle's not there anymore?
Is it still there? I thought that one was closing.
I have no idea. I haven't been over there in years.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I got the or Friendly's. Maybe Friendly's is gone. One of the
that checks out.
But yeah, Vejita Grande, they have this. It's like a margarita thing that you can buy where they bring you out the margarita, but then they give you a bottle of Corona.
Oh yeah, Corona-rita.
But they drop the bottle in or they upside down with like a lime and oh man, it's so good.
We used to do those at B-Dubs all the time.
Yeah, but I got a hankering for one of those, so I might grab one or two. Or three.
There you
go. I don't know.
Yeah, we just get hammered. So I might not remember recording this today.
It's fine. It is what it is.
I'm a big coconut guy.
Yeah.
Coconut's like my favorite summer flavor.
Yeah.
Anything coconut. I don't care what it is.
I think if it isn't what I just described, then lemon would probably like my second. The coconut, like it's like, didn't you have a cigar one time that was kind of like tropical coconutty?
There was like the Isla del Sol, but that's not really.
Those are good. Not those ones, but Caribbean cask.
Oh yeah, with the coconut rum.
Was that like a coconut kind of flavor
a little
to
bit,
it?
Yeah. A little hint of it. I gotta get me one of those again.
Yeah,
those are so good.
Caribbean cask.
Yeah. Soaked for summer. Anyways, let's talk Cryptid Corner, Nick.
Yeah, man.
So apparently this week there was a sighting in Philadelphia by some of their their pilots going into the airport and stuff like that. On March 14th, a flight was on its final approach to the airport, arriving from Barbados, and the pilot piloting the plane reported that an object had zipped over them at approximately 1,300 feet, which is incredibly low and dangerous for commercial airspace.
Yeah.
The pilot was very specific, calling it a mysterious black disc or a flying saucer. And in the recording, because there is an audio clip of them describing what has happened, you can hear the pilot's genuine confusion, and she explicitly tells the controller, there was some sort of like flying disc that just went over us. It didn't look like a drone or a balloon. The bafflement in her voice is what caught the attention of researchers. Usually pilots try to identify objects as known hazards like a weather balloon or a stray quadcopter, but she immediately went to disc, which is a career-limiting term for many pilots to use unless they are certain of what they saw. What makes this Philadelphia report even more compelling is the surrounding activity. Just across the river in New Jersey, there have already been 3 major reports of orbs and LED lights in 2026, specifically in Atlantic City and Bridgewater. One report from late February even described an orb that looked like it was being shot at by a laser beam, which has prompted some local researchers to wonder if there's military testing happening over the Atlantic that's leaking into the Philly flight paths. That's pretty wild. They're reporting hypersonic objects with no discernible engines or exhausts. Sightings are being added to a growing database of the UAPs tracked by the National UFO Reporting Center, which has seen a massive spike in Pennsylvania reports over the last year.
I'm trying to think, are there any big military bases out towards
Philadelphia?
Towards Philly? I'm sure. I mean, there's Letterkenny out towards PA, but that's like...
But I wouldn't classify that as a government testing facility.
No, I'm just trying to say, it was like any potential base out there that could be a viable, like what they're testing there, you know?
I get what you're saying.
Know, but no, that's interesting. Yeah, it's always good to have some good modern day UFO lore.
I know they're stacking up. That Full Disclosure Act is really spiking the UFO activity. Well, they're not afraid to show themselves anymore. Yeah. What the fuck are you guys going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, we're here. We've been here.
We're integrated into your society.
But you seen the show Ancient Aliens?
It's all true.
Newsflash, I'm the producer.
It's all true.
I wrote the script and I redacted the script at the same time. Have you any idea what kind of power that is?
That's power you can't buy.
Yeah, no, it's that's dope. I'm glad. I'm pretty pumped for.
Are you? Are you glad?
I'm all for it, man.
I thought aliens were your big scare factor.
When I was younger, yeah. Like, I mean, now it's kind of cool.
Okay.
Like if they were to abduct me right now, I'm like, oh yeah, sweet, where are we going? That kind of thing.
Until they bring out the Ass Blaster 9000 and start.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, well, can I at least have like, an OxyContin or something first? Nope. What about some KY? Nope. It's so funny, dude, that you say that. There was it's on Netflix, Love, Death, and Robots. There's an episode. Have you seen the show Love, Death, and Robots? They're like 15-minute little short clips, and each episode is like different. Some of them are really cool. There's like there's actually an episode where they incorporate Cthulhu into it, kind of like a Lovecraft kind of thing. But it's like always like each episode is like a bunch of different artists and stuff. But there's an episode in there where the artist, like the medium of it, it's like little miniatures. So it's like they filmed a 3D movie, but it's like little miniatures. So they got a camera and it's like these little tiny micro people. But it's like
that's cool.
It's really weird. Yeah, it's but like this alien comes down. And he's all like, "I'm here for peace" or whatever, but of course, like humans are like, "No, fuck that!" Like they murder him.
You might be here for peace, but we're not.
And so then like the aliens like invade Earth or whatever. And there's like a cutscene in that short where they start abducting like all these people, and this guy comes running out of a sex shop. "No, wait, take me!" And he has like a bunch of dildos.
Oh my god!
It's really graphic. It starts off with this like farmer just chill. Oh, this is a farmer just like doing his thing, and he walks
fucking on an animal.
He walks up to the cow and he milks it, and he's like, "Oh, okay, that seems wholesome." And then he gets a stool and he pulls his pants down and pulls his dick.
Oh my god!
And he's about to start screwing this cow, and then he gets abducted by these aliens, and they have him strapped up to like a chair or whatever, bent over, and they pull out this like giant Ass Blaster 9000. He starts freaking out like, "Oh my god!"
That guy deserved it. That guy deserved that.
Yeah, that episode, they're like 0 to 100. But yeah, no, I'm all for disclosure. I'm glad that it's finally happening, and I'm really curious to see and excited to see how, within like the next 10, 15 years.
How society changes due to these discoveries.
And it could be that, nothing really changes at all. It's like you said, a couple episodes ago. It's oh yeah, well, we kind of already knew that, and just like, whatever. It's like I'm still paying $8 for fucking gas. Like they don't really.
So
care.
you gotta pay my taxes.
You're gonna pay my fucking taxes. Yeah. So
the aliens do something about the taxes.
Right. Yeah. It's
I don't care.
Yeah. No benefit. I mean, it's cool. Yeah. Well, we can get you across light years. You ever seen a planet just full of neon gas? That sounds cool.
Yeah, but until you put an electric charge to that bad boy, I don't care.
Until you pay my taxes, I really don't give a shit.
Especially property taxes.
Yeah. Fuck ridiculous.
Fucking taxes, man.
Yeah, I gotta go pay my state taxes. I gotta go to the comptroller.
Gotta pay federal taxes, gotta pay state taxes, pay taxes on the clothes you buy, on the food you eat, on the drinks you drink, on the car you own, on the car you don't own.
That's true. Yeah.
On the road you drive on the insurance that you pay for.
It's all
bunch of goddamn shit.
Big old cluster fluff.
To think our forefathers flipped their shit over 2% taxes on tea.
Yeah, in retrospect, it's pretty funny looking back. It's like
now we're the ones getting ass blasted 9,000 over taxes.
Like, you think I'm going to pay 0.5% tax on imported tea?
You can absolutely get fucked, my friend. And today they're like, what's another 6% on everything that you possibly can consume in your lifetime?
Yeah. Oh, that burger, 8% tax.
This is way off topic, but I've seen they're considering adding a 6% sales tax to homes if you sell your home in Maryland and try to leave.
I did see that it was proposed.
It's like, you're trying to hold me hostage in Maryland?
Yeah, basically, so they want people to leave. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. I did see that, and I was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's fucked.
It's fucked up, man.
It's almost as bad as the rain tax they try to do it. like a decade or so ago.
I completely forgot about that.
Hey, yeah, see, it's raining, and you're gonna have to pay for that. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. What the fuck do you mean? I didn't ask for it.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about the rain tax. Oh shit. Oh, and you're gonna try to collect it in a barrel?
Yeah.
Double tax.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to water my crops. Fuck crops.
It is raining in the state of Maryland right now. Somebody's got to pay for this.
Okay, well, what if my house crosses over the state line? Do I only pay for half the taxes if it's raining?
No, of course not. No. You pay Maryland tax and Pennsylvania tax. Good times. It's fun being 30-something.
It's fucking shit.
But anyways, welcome to Shadows and Sightings. I swear this is a paranormal comedy podcast. If you haven't been here before, thanks for listening. If you listen to our intro, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Where it's just an unhinged couple of minutes where we just talk about the shit that happens in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, Ash Blasters 9000s. And
well, maybe that doesn't happen in our day-to-day lives.
Oh, man, well, you can speak for yourself.
Yeah, I can only speak for me. That makes me want to play Destroy All Humans.
I actually played that not too long ago.
Yeah, that game was so fucking. It
was
so fun.
I fucking love that game. That and Saints Row with the
slapstick duck twist song.
Well, that too, but I was saying what was the penetrator?
Oh yeah, just walk around mollywopping people with a huge dildo. That game, oh my goodness, dude! The first like 2 Saints Rows were just incredible.
Unhinged. I love it. Well,
in the best way. Like the first one was grounded.
The first one was more mild. But the second one, they were like, okay, let's push the
we got to stop being Grand Theft Auto.
But let's how can we do that? Let's make it let's keep the aspects of GTA, but let's just make it like fucking ludicrous, ridiculous.
Yeah, my favorite thing was the ragdoll physics in that game.
Yeah.
And you go and commit insurance fraud, and you're just getting ragdolled by cars flipping over them and shit. Oh man, so much fun.
When you get the pimp cane and like your whole like walk would just change. You're just walking like a pimp, but it was like a shotgun.
Yeah. Wasn't there another mission where you drove around a septic truck and just
the Septic Avenger?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the septic and just like
blasted
shit
people with shit water. Yeah.
Oh my god, those games were so good.
They got a remaster of those games, didn't they? Didn't they remaster those?
Yeah, there was one that came out like maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
I thought so. I might have to get that. Play me some Saints Row again.
From what I remember seeing, like it was still the same old ridiculous Saints Row.
As long as they didn't change any of the physics, like that's all I care about.
Oh man, that game was so good.
So much fun. But speaking of insurance fraud, H.H. Holmes.
That bastard.
The ultimate insurance fraudster.
Yeah. Scammer if there ever was one.
Scammer of the century.
So you were talking about earlier how prior to me suggesting the episode, you really hadn't dabbled too much in the world of
exact
H.H.
quote is,
Holmes.
I didn't know shit about shit.
Yeah, didn't know shit about shit about H.H.
Didn't know dick about shit.
Didn't know dick about shit. H.H. Holmes? Who the fuck is that? What's he all about?
I get him, I feel like I get him and D.B. Cooper confused. Because they both have cool names.
I can see that. I'm pretty sure H.H. Holmes was the guy that jumped out of the airplane with all that money back in the 60s.
No, you're thinking of D.B. Cooper.
No,
that's the guy that made the murder house. That's the guy that made the car.
Yeah, they made the Cooper car. The Cooper, the Zoom, and D.B. Cooper.
Well, now who's H.G. Gregg?
Who the fuck are you? Yeah. So
who's Wells Fargo? What's that guy doing these days?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a serial killer guy. He used to kidnap people up in this little horse carriage and murder them. Yeah. Oh, history's
fun.
History's great.
But yeah, I didn't know anything about H.H. Holmes, and I'm excited to find out more. I mean, I looked into stuff, but I'm excited to hear your take on what this was and why this what brought us to this episode, I guess, is the way I should have phrased that.
I guess, honestly, it's a really dark, fucked up topic.
That's true.
He's like just, we were saying earlier, when we hear about serial killers back in the 1800s, it's pretty common that people jump to Jack the Ripper as he was like the serial killer.
Guy.
Like the originator. He was like the original, just insert any serial killer.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Ed Gein. Who else? The Night Stalker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ted Bundy. That's what
Ted Bundy.
Ted
Okay.
Bundy, yeah. Ted Bundy, yeah. So this guy was like, Jack the Ripper was like the first, but, H.H. Holmes
Was the real first.
in our backyard, like
Yeah.
the American, basically American psyche, the first one to kind of go mainstream.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty intensely.
And changed, like, news and journalism as we know it, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that at some point. But
so yeah, let's do a
little backstory on who H.H.
deep
Holmes
dive.
was.
Old fashioned Herman Webster.
Yeah, we'll start at the beginning, Nick.
So H.H. Holmes originally born as Herman Webster Mudgett, either Mudgett or Mudgett.
Mudgett.
Mudgett is Mudgett. In 1861, he grew up in Gilmanton, which is a quiet rural town, I think in New Hampshire.
Yes.
New Hampshire. Yeah,
Yes.
New Hampshire. He was raised in a very strict religious household.
Now, before we get to that part, we'd have to preface this, with this is what H.H. Holmes claimed. H.H. Holmes was a pathological liar.
Oh, true.
A pathological con man.
Yeah.
So anything that is believed to be known about H.H. Holmes cannot be fully proven as true.
And it should be taken with like a grain of salt.
Yeah, just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
That's all I'll
Because
add.
it could be, he could have been a black guy. He could have been, H.H. Holmes could have been, he could have been a beaver in a human, or like three beavers.
He could have been three guys
suit.
dressed in a trench coat.
Yeah, right? Like three dwarves in a trench suit, or three hobbits.
Which at the end of this episode, maybe we'll get to about how he did, in fact, lie about his height. So you never know.
We never know about H.H. Holmes. You just can't trust what he said.
Can't trust anything.
What do you mean he's a black guy? I got pictures.
He was wearing whiteface the whole time.
Yeah, he was... he was ahead of his time. He was really going for that con artist.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in that little grain of salt. So
yeah. So raised in a strict religious household. Rumors claim that his childhood was pretty rough. He was, often bullied by classmates, especially involving a fear of doctors and skeletons. He also had a fascination with death and anatomy, which kind of developed early on. And in some accounts, he claimed that he performed experiments on animals, which is a common early warning sign in serial killer profiles, but not fully confirmed.
I also heard that his mother was very cold and distant with him, and that his father was a raging alcoholic who would sometimes cover their mouths in kerosene-drenched rags if they cried.
Yeah, I think I might murder some people.
Yeah.
I think I would...
I also heard that at some point when he was a kid, he got busted by the landlord that their family was renting this apartment from.
That's nasty.
It's worse. Wait till I finish. He got busted in almost like he had a porno mag under his mattress kind of way, but it was actually a dead infant or like a baby that he told the landlord it was for a project for school. It was homework. Because it was like a dissection project. It's like, how the fuck? How did you get a baby? And why'd you stuff it under your mattress? Like a porno mag.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's H.H. Holmes, though, so that checks out.
Yeah. He seemed to have a fascination with infants and baby killing.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So his education and, some early warning signs about the pathway that he was going down. So he attended the University of Michigan Medical School, where he studied anatomy and gained access to cadavers. And around this time, he's always had a fascination with, anatomy, physiology. As Taylor just mentioned, dead babies. But, it was once he gets to the University of Michigan and he goes to med school, that's where he really starts to ramp things up and they escalate.
Well, I wanted to also add, along with the baby thing, he allegedly committed his first murder crime when he was a child, about 11 years old. Him and a childhood friend went to an abandoned house.
And the childhood friend didn't come back.
Exactly. The story basically goes that H.H. Holmes pushed him off of the high point of this house they were exploring, and then staged it to look like it was an accident. So he graduated from killing babies to killing 11-year-olds.
I mean, it's quite the jump, but yeah.
What are 11-year-olds if not just animals that you can dissect?
He's a little. I mean, this guy's a little sadistic fuck.
He is.
So by the time he gets to med school, if history is to be believed, rumors are to be believed, he's already murdered a few people, and those are just the ones that we know about. But once he's in med school, he allegedly starts stealing corpses from the lab.
As one does.
Yeah, of course. And that's not like an uncommon thing, right? In like history.
Right. Cadavers and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a whole business back in the day of like you stealing cadavers from graves and giving them to the universities for money so they could do research.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Da Vinci, when he was like he didn't go to med school, but
he was med school.
I guess because a lot of the drawings and stuff that we have today are like a result of based off of like his like interpretation. So like he would study the cadavers and stuff too. So like that part is like not uncommon. I'm not saying it's like great or ethical, But,
it's one of those things where it's not
kind of like
it's not ethical now, but back in the late 1800s, it wasn't really even noticed.
Yeah, it wasn't, and
it was a different time.
It was a different time, and a lot of what we have today was like the direct result of that.
Right.
We would not be where we're at today without that. But he would disfigure them to stage fake accidents. And then to take it a step further, he would collect insurance money.
Yep.
Using aliases.
The ultimate fraudster, man. He was a bastard. He was a sly bastard.
What a dick. It's like, oh yeah, so I found this cadaver, stage it. Oh yeah, I want to collect some insurance money.
Yeah, he would claim it was a business partner. He would claim it was a business partner and then collect the life insurance from the business partner. So he got thousands of dollars from payouts from life insurance companies claiming that these fresh corpses were business partners, and he would stage it to look like an accident. And that's ultimately how he got found out. But like the fact that he thought of it in the first place is crazy.
It just gets more and more ridiculous each time.
Well, the first one, or maybe not the first one, but I guess the one that led to his demise was his business partner. He staged it where he told his cellmate that he was going to, once he got out, he was like, oh, this cell's not going to keep me here. And it's not going to make me change. It ain't going to change me none, kind of thing. He's like, I'm going to get out of here. Give me a name of a good lawyer. I'm going to stage this accident to get the insurance money. And when I do, I'll give you $500 to the cellmate for suggesting the lawyer that will help me, will aid in this process.
Yeah.
So he stages this body in the middle of a room and like burns like the face a little bit, burns the hands, burns, just some pieces of it, and kind of disfigures him a little bit, but then just happens to lay like a lighter and some gas. It's like a Looney Tunes ass fucking and the cops are so stupid back then, they don't care. They're like, looks like this guy was playing with matches and gasoline. Checks out. An explosion. Killed this man. It's like this guy's telling the truth.
It's like, okay, well, this guy's like face is gone. There's a bloody knife over there with like a handprint on it. Oh, well, DNA won't be used for another 50 years.
So there's a signed letter that says, "I did this." H.H. Holmes. It could be anything.
Yeah, it could be a grocery list. It could be a. So it's important to note that Holmes didn't start as a serial killer. He started as a scammer who got comfortable with exploiting death. So
he was a scammer who loved the idea of death and murder.
Who loved the idea of death, but I think he, like you said, he got his start with like the insurance scam kind of thing. So let's look at H.H. Holmes from the lens of the birth of a con man kind of thing. So he moves to Chicago in the 1880s. He takes a job at a pharmacy in Englewood. Eventually, he took over the business under suspicious circumstances.
Well, the drugstore owner, Elizabeth Holton, gave Holmes the job, and he proved to be a hardworking employee and eventually bought the store.
So H.H. Holmes arrives in Chicago in the mid-1880s, where he lands a job at Englewood, in the Englewood neighborhood, and gets a job at the local drugstore, owned by Dr. E.S. Holton. Holmes presents himself as an educated, which he was. He had medical training, but presents himself as educated, professional, and trustworthy, and mild-mannered and respectable. Basically, he built the perfect small-town doctor image in a rapidly growing city. Accounts vary slightly, but here's the most widely told version. Dr. Holton either became ill and died or disappeared under unclear circumstances. His wife, often referred to as Mrs. Holton, was left running the business. This is where H.H. Holmes enters in. He offered to help manage the pharmacy.
He just busts down the door. Hello,
I'm H.H. Holmes.
a handsome devil.
Yeah. I could just see him with like his little business card.
With 6 different names crossed out until it finally gets to H.H. Holmes on the bottom.
Like in crayon.
Yeah.
Who, as he begins to offer help managing the pharmacy, he slowly takes over the day-to-day operations. The takeover, and this is where it kind of gets sketchy, Holmes didn't just buy the pharmacy cleanly. This is where he started to kind of manipulate his way in there. Theories about how he gained ownership range from gradual control strategy. So he gained the trust of Miss Holton, handles the finances, assumes operational control, and eventually claims ownership.
And this is like a trend that he lives and dies by, kind of, because
it's like his business plan.
During the course of his life, he does this to multiple women, where he, for the lack of a better word, seduces them into believing him, gets all of their monetary assets, and just leaves them high and dry.
Yep. Financial manipulation. He may have convinced Ms. Holton to sell on favorable terms, possibly use debt or pressure tactics. Darker rumors, unconfirmed, but these are quite popular. Some stories claim Holmes killed or disappeared Ms. Holton. Others say she simply moved away and lived a normal life. But it's important to know that there's no definitive proof that he murdered her. This is just one of those areas where legend and fact kind of blur together.
Yeah, kind of a gray area.
Together. Yeah. But this wasn't just a job. It was kind of like his launch pad. Because in acquiring the pharmacy, it gave him access to chemicals and drugs. It was a legitimate income stream and ownership of land. Right next door is a vacant lot that he purchased, and this is where he begins constructing what would later become known as the infamous murder castle. So even at this stage, Holmes is already showing patterns. He's ordering supplies on credit and never paying.
Yep.
He's switching suppliers frequently to avoid detection. He's using aliases in business dealings. And he's scamming vendors with fake promises.
Yeah, he would buy like furniture and then pay it off on, or use credit to get the furniture. They'd deliver the furniture. He would then sell the furniture and never pay the creditors back, because when they would come back to repossess the furniture, it was gone. It's like, this motherfucker, man. Well, I was like, I didn't know you could do that.
Hey, we've come back to repossess the. There's a whole room here. What do you mean? He bought this whole room. We moved everything in here. Where did it all go?
There's nothing in here, man. I don't know you guys. I've never seen you before in my life.
You're a goddamn liar. You signed the receipt right here.
Yeah. In other accounts, he would build the rooms in the hotel or this building and put the furniture in there. And the people, because there were so many rooms, there was hundreds of rooms that either were windowless or multiple doors, this and that and the other. He would just stack the furniture in there, and they'd come and look for it, and they'd be like, I don't know where the fuck this furniture is. And then he would just keep it. It's like... He was like 6 steps ahead until he wasn't.
He's freaking nuts. He was essentially stress testing scams before escalating to murder. So yeah, like I said, it's important to note there's unconfirmed rumors that he did murder a couple people, in his childhood, his early adult life, but really he kind of hits the ground running with scamming people first and learns all about the manipulation, the tactics, kind of like how to get people's favor, and then from there, that's where the murder kind of escalates. Before the bodies, before the castle, there was just the pharmacy, and a man learning how easy it was to take control of someone else's life.
It's true.
Do you think Holmes planned everything from the start? Or do you think it was kind of like just a progressive, like, okay, here,
I think he had a plan from the start of where he ultimately wanted to end up going. But as he was moving along, he was probably figuring out, like, oh, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be. Because...
So, like, you think, like, the opportunity shaped him kind of thing?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
And, like, maybe with, like, him purchasing the pharmacy. Like, was it a calculated first move, or
absolutely,
or was it just like another scam that spiraled into like, shit?
I think he definitely had a thought of the ultimate scam is I can get a pharmacy because then I have access to anything I would need without anybody asking any questions. Like you mentioned, you can get drugs, you can get utensils, tools. Back then, I'm sure a drugstore, quote unquote, was also kind of like a general store. So if you're ordering other supplies to keep in your store, nobody's going to think twice about it having a butcher's cleaver or a, you know what I'm saying? So I think having the pharmacy, and plus everybody needs to go to the pharmacy. So like you had mentioned, him becoming the small town doctor, everybody goes to the pharmacy. Oh, go down to the old H.H. Holmes' drugstore. He'll fix you up. You know, he's a good guy. And it just kind of builds that trust to where people will just believe anything he says.
Oh, definitely. You know, as a doctor, you kind of have, you know, that public trust. Yeah, there's weight to it, public trust. So, of course, you know, them going to you in confidence. You're like, oh, yeah, come see me. And then, oh, God, that'd be terrible.
And then the next thing you know, you're stripped naked in the middle of Inglewood Square because H.H. Holmes was like, that shirt doesn't look that good on you. I think you should just give it to me. You know what, H.H. Holmes, you're right.
Just like, his speechcraft.
Take those pants off, too. I don't like those pants. They would look better on me. They don't fit you at all.
Speechcraft 100.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, this guy could talk you out of your clothes, for sure. And he did to multiple women.
Oh, what a scumbag.
I do want to talk a little bit of like the actual construction of the hotel.
Go for
it. So the first floor of this hotel was actually supposed to be another pharmacy. So he's moving one pharmacy into, this is like his cover scheme. The construction began in 1887 for a 2-story mixed-use building with apartments on the second floor and retail spaces, including a new drugstore on the first. When Holmes declined to pay the architects or the steel company, Aetna Iron and Steel, they took him to court in 1888. So he's already getting busted.
Yeah.
But some speculate that he intended to use it as a hotel during the upcoming World Columbian Exposition, which is basically like the World's Fair.
Yeah.
Reports claim that Holmes built the hotel to lure tourists visiting the exposition in order to kill them and sell their skeletons to nearby medical schools. Although he did have a history of selling stolen cadavers to medical schools, Holmes had acquired these wares through body snatching rather than murder. Likewise, there is no evidence that Holmes ever murdered exposition goers on the premises. The Yellow Press labeled the building as Holmes's murder castle, claiming the structure contained secret torture chambers, trapdoors, gas chambers, and basement crematoriums. None of these sensationalized claims were ever proven to be true. But it is pretty wild that he had, from what I understand, it was the first floor was a drugstore mixed with retail spaces that people would rent out. Second story was apartments, and also office spaces where he would hire secretaries and stuff like that to help quote unquote run his shell businesses, his scams. One of which being it was like a water to gas machine that he scammed people into believing was a real thing, where you pour water in and gas came out, because he had somehow figured out a way to jerry-rig the gas lines from the city into this machine so it looked like he was pouring water in and gas was coming out. So he scammed multiple people thinking they were investing in the next big energy boom product.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
The fucking balls on this guy.
If there was a scam to be had, this dude was way out ahead of it.
Oh, those poor people.
Forget the murders.
I feel bad for them. It's like, yo, here's my entire life.
Exactly. That's what he would do. Yeah. Here's a check for $12,000 for this water to gas machine. And they take it home and it's like, well, this water's just turning into more water.
What the actual fuck?
They go back to like get their money back. He's gone. He left.
Oh my god. Oh my god, those poor people. I shouldn't laugh at that. I shouldn't laugh. Those poor people.
Some might say they got what they deserved for being so stupid.
I mean, I suppose, but still.
So in 2016, an original 1888 blueprint for the castle was discovered in Chicago legal archives. It reveals the mechanical truth behind the legend. The blueprints show several windowless internal rooms on the second floor. While the press called them asphyxiation chambers, legal records from 1888 show that Holmes was being sued by Aetna Iron and Steel, like I mentioned, and various architects, and he kept changing the layout and hiring new crews specifically to avoid paying them.
Also, want to add to that he fired construction workers frequently, so nobody would know like
the layout, the true layout,
like the true layout of it.
It was like week to week.
Yeah, and then he, I think also too was for because he didn't want to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So he would just like, all right, like fire them, like get rid of them, and that kind of thing, and then
I'd say it was for incompetence, and bad
or
work.
some bullshit, and then but yeah, like you said, the designs included hidden rooms, gas chambers, soundproof vaults, and body chutes to the basement. And like as you mentioned, he opens it as a hotel during like the World Columbian Exposition.
There were plans for a third floor, and this was supposed to be the World's Fair Hotel. Modern analysis shows that it was built so cheaply that a worker's foot went through the floor during construction, and it was never finished, furnished, and never actually opened to any guests. This guy's just hiring the cheapest possible labor and still not paying them.
This wasn't just a building, it was a machine. And Holmes was designing it for one purpose only.
I did think that was interesting because I was thinking about it. I was like, how did somebody like that get away with building a building like this? It turns out he was his own architect and construction manager. So hiring multiple teams constantly would make sense on how nobody ever knew what was truly going on in there.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was like, that was, again, he's like 6 steps ahead.
I mean, man knows what he wants. He's going after it.
Yeah.
I wonder if he ever probably settled with like the architect company and the
Probably
not.
Yeah, probably not. So just to dig a little deeper into the actual stuff going on in there, the ground floor was bustling with legitimate-looking businesses that gave Holmes the perfect excuse for a high volume of people, mostly strangers and travelers, to be coming and going. So like I mentioned, there was a drugstore. It was the anchor of the building. Holmes was a trained pharmacist, and the shop was a neighborhood staple. There was a restaurant and a bakery. He leased space to vendors, ensuring the building was a social center. There was a high-end jewelry shop that gave the quote-unquote castle an air of respectability and wealth, and a barbershop, another high-traffic business that made the presence of many men and women in the building seem normal. So this guy's got all his boxes checked. He's making sure that there's no suspicious activity, people coming and going, gathering constantly, and nobody ever questions, like, hey, what happened to that guy? I seen him at the barbershop last week. Oh, he probably just left town.
Yeah.
On the second floor, Holmes ran several shell companies. His most frequent scam involved a new and improved copying machine. He would hire young women as stenographers, which were secretaries, for these fake companies. Once hired, he would charm these women, often becoming engaged to them. He would convince them to withdraw their life savings or sign over property to him before they disappeared to their families. He would send letters claiming they had run off to get married or started a new life elsewhere.
Yep. It wasn't, maybe I'll add to this later on in the episode, but wasn't that one of the key factors of him getting caught? It was like one of the last flings that he gets involved in.
Well, I think the key factor was, one of the last flings, but like I had mentioned at the top of when we started this, the cellmate that he promised $500 to, after he told him this entire elaborate scheme, he never paid him the $500 because that's the kind of person he was. So the cellmate ratted him out. He sent a letter to the police chief. It was like, hey, this is everything this guy told me he was going to do. You might want to look into this more. So they did. And that's how they ultimately were like, okay, we got to find this guy.
This guy's a little shifty.
Yeah, exactly.
A little shady. he's doing some dealings that we don't approve of.
He also did what was called a bone trade. It was perhaps the most gruesome side hustle that he had. Because of his medical background, Holmes had connections with doctors and medical schools. He used the castle's basement lab to clean the bodies of his victims. He would then sell the articulated skeletons back to the medical universities. At the time, it was difficult for schools to get legal cadavers, so they didn't ask many questions about where a perfectly preserved skeleton came from.
Oh my God. Like, this is pristine.
Right. How did you get...
We don't need to know.
You don't look a gift corpse in the mouth.
We don't need to know. We don't need to ask questions.
I don't want to know.
I want to know.
No. There's one handsome son of a bitch coming in here. You don't ask him questions. The building was constantly under construction, and Holmes used the noise of hammers and saws to mask other sounds. If a neighbor asked about a strange smell or a weird layout, he could simply blame it on ongoing renovations or a plumbing issue. He was a master of the bureaucratic distraction.
Like, wait, why Why does my room smell like death? Oh,
sewer line.
Plumbing line beneath your room exploded.
It's Chicago.
Shit everywhere. It's Taco Tuesday.
It's just Chicago. That's the times we live in, man.
We don't got...
It's not horse shit outside. How dare you come into my house asking me about smells? You smelled your house lately?
You ain't got no fucking house, do you? Now that we have this murder house constructed, there's all the mostly, yeah. It's an ongoing project.
Never finished.
Never finished. Let's talk about some of the key murders, because there were quite a few, but here are a few of the key cases that kind of are memorable within the H.H. Holmes community. So we have Julia Connor and Pearl Connor. Julia worked at Holmes Pharmacy, became romantically involved with him. Her young daughter Pearl also lived with her. Julia reportedly agreed to let Holmes perform an illegal abortion on her. She and Pearl disappeared on Christmas Eve in 1891. Likely the scenario, Julia died during the procedure or was murdered. Pearl was killed to eliminate any witnesses. So, to give a little bit more background on who Julia Connor was, she was the wife of Lawrence Connor, a jeweler who worked in the same building. Well, essentially he was a doctor, right? But worked at the jewelry counter at the pharmacy. She lived and worked inside Holmes' building, putting her constantly in his orbit. She was described as attractive and personable, independent for her time, and a devoted mother. Over time, her marriage to Lawrence began to fall apart. Holmes inserted himself into her life emotionally and romantically. And of course, Holmes just didn't target strangers. He targeted people close to him because people trusted him. He looked for vulnerabilities and exploited them. Pearl was Julia's young daughter, around 8 years old, and obviously lived with her mother in the building. And description suggests that she was bright and well-liked, often seen around the property. Which is kind of effed up, because if you know anything about H.H. Holmes, or from what we've seen so far, is he will use anything he can to his advantage to get what he wants.
Oh, absolutely.
He probably looked at Pearl as collateral.
Oh,
okay, let me.
This is a bargaining chip.
This is a bargaining chip, exactly. Yeah. She was a child that Holmes knew personally. As far as her relationship with Holmes, they began having an affair while she's still married,
which led to Lawrence leaving for Julia, and then that left Julia with sole possession of Pearl, the daughter.
Yeah. Reportedly, Holmes had promised, giving Julia a marriage and a better life. But while all this is going on, Lawrence is growing suspicious, and like you said, he eventually leaves Chicago. And here, at this point, after he leaves, that's kind of like the critical point where she's now solely dependent on Holmes. Financially, emotionally, he's her employer, but he's also, inserted himself.
A confidant.
Yeah, exactly.
A lover, a friend. Luda, John, and Ursher back to do it
again. Julia becomes pregnant by Holmes, which Holmes is like, nah, fuck that. At the time, this was socially scandalous and potentially life-ruining.
That dude had hoes in different area codes anyway.
Oh, yeah, hoes all over the place. He had to propose a solution, though, because, he was like, we can't have that. He would perform an illegal abortion because he had the medical training.
Quote-unquote training.
I don't know. Maybe there was an ounce of goodness in Holmes. You think that he was like, you know what? Let me actually try to save her. Let me actually try to perform this abortion and do the right thing. Do you think that was in his...
No, not at all.
I don't know. Maybe Holmes had a change of heart for 33 seconds.
Try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I feel like it was just an excuse of, let me do the abortion on you. I know what I'm doing. And then you get in there, he starts rooting around and starts pulling out things that he shouldn't be pulling out, and this and that. And it's like, I killed her.
The connector cord goes to the dad code here.
Yeah. I meant to remove the gas injector plugs, but I accidentally took her spark plugs out. And by spark plugs, I mean her heart.
It's like, I thought you were a doctor. What? What's a doctor?
I thought this was Spanish class.
I'm a mechanic.
She came in for a faulty alternator. No, she needed an abortion. What is wrong with you?
Where did you go to medical school? What's medical school?
AutoZone.
So yeah, he probably was never like meant to like, save her, unfortunately. And the night that they disappeared, Christmas Eve, 1891, Julia told others Holmes would perform the procedure, which, yeah, okay, I was like, who is she telling? That,
She had a sister, didn't she? Or something?
Maybe. But, whoever, she was like,
Oh, it was her dad and her mother.
Okay. Let them know that Holmes was going to perform the procedure and that she would be away temporarily. After that night, Julia and Pearl were never seen again.
Yeah, Holmes initially claimed that Julia had left unexpectedly to visit her dying sister, but then changed his story and said that she had fled her former husband. Ultimately, Holmes later claimed that Julia had actually died during the abortion. Despite his medical background, Holmes was unlikely to be experienced in carrying out any kind of procedure involving abortions, and mortality from such a procedure was high at that time. Holmes then claimed to have poisoned Pearl, likely to hide the circumstances of her mother's death. A partial skeleton, possibly of a child around Pearl's age, was found when excavating Holmes's cellar, and Pearl's father was a key witness at Holmes's trial in Chicago. So he changed his story like 6 times about what
typical of what serial killers, somebody who gets caught, or trying not to get caught.
The key takeaway for me is in that whole situation is that he did kill Pearl, the 5-year-old or 8-year-old.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was
which is even more fucked up.
This guy was a piece of shit. You know? There are a few theories, but most converge here. The first theory was that it was a botched procedure. Julia died during the abortion. Holmes panicked and tried to cover it up, but then also killed Pearl as a witness. Theory 2, premeditated murder.
Which I think is probably what the case was.
Probably the most likely, yeah. I agree. Holmes planned to kill Julia from the start. Used the procedure as a controlled scenario, and then Pearl was killed to eliminate loose ends. Some accounts suggest that Julia's body may have been dissected or disposed of in the basement, and Pearl may have been poisoned, suffocated, or locked in one of the rooms. And like Taylor had mentioned, exact details are unknown, but, the confessions were inconsistent. Why does this case matter? This wasn't just another victim, of course. Julia represents emotional manipulation that was often done by Holmes with all of his victims. And then Pearl represents Holmes' complete lack of limits and empathy. If you're
he's lost his humanity at that point.
He's not even human. He's just like disgusting. There's the realm of evil that he can cross into, has
now been crossed.
Yeah, it has been crossed, but there's no limit essentially.
Right.
Yeah, he's not just a con man anymore. This is something far, far darker.
Yeah. Then you have 23-year-old Emmeline Singrand, who began working in Holmes's building in May 1892 and worked for him for 6 months. Holmes reportedly hired Singrand as a secretary due to her connection to a doctor who peddled a quote-unquote vaccine that allegedly cured alcoholism. These people would believe anything back then.
Right? This is freaking wild back then.
Those who saw Singrand in the weeks before her disappearance noticed that she appeared to have lost interest in Holmes and their relationship. Singrand was last seen in December 1892. Her parents were informed that she had left to marry a man named Robert Phelps. Authorities hypothesized that she was pregnant by Holmes, possibly being a victim of another failed abortion that Holmes tried to cover up. Her empty luggage trunk was sent back to her mother in Anderson, Indiana. Her skeleton was found by police at the home of a Chicago physician with the help of M.G. Chappell, who admitted having some articulated 3 skeletons for H.H. Holmes. So likely he killed this guy or this girl too. Maybe not in the same way specifically, but I think that this is the case. I thought I heard that he killed her and put her in a trunk of some sort, like skinned her from the waist up and then put her in a trunk and had some people help him move her out of the building. And that's when I don't know what they do to dissolve the tissue from the bones, but it was something along like a acids and quicklime or something like that he would throw the bodies into and then take the skeletons out and sell to the universities.
I think something also too to kind of note is if you look at the profile of a lot of these women that he was going after, they kind of all fit the same profile. He was looking for, young and attractive, obviously, but they were also like intelligent and professional.
I was going to say, I don't know if young and attractive would be the right word. I've heard some of these women being described as just plain.
Well, I mean,
it's almost like he would pick them specifically so they wouldn't stand out. Like if they went missing, nobody would notice. That's how I took it. But
I mean, okay,
have you seen something different?
Well, I mean, he was saying the secretaries, like where for all of his like little scam businesses.
Mm-hmm.
But you might be right. You know, I mean, that checks out. You know, like
Yeah.
it's, you know, if somebody's like plain Jane kind of thing, you know, no one's gonna like, you know, no one's gonna notice her missing. But you know,
As opposed to this,
like if it's Kim Kardashian that goes missing,
Right.
you know, people are gonna like notice. You know, that kind of. I
Right.
get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but you know, like to kind of add more to like the manipulation for Emmeline, you know, in that scenario, Holmes gave her special attention, treated her differently than other employees. And he built a sense of trust and emotional connection. He reportedly proposed marriage, just like, you know, all the other women, and often spoke about a future together. And it pretty much mirrors exactly what he did with Julia Connor. Romance, trust, control, disappearance.
and that's been going on since he was in university, because he promised this to another girl, and he almost didn't graduate because of that. He promised this girl marriage, and then just so he could sleep with her.
Yeah.
And then threatened to not do it. And she took it to the dean or whatever. And that was a punishable crime back then if you promised to marry somebody and you didn't.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, to kind of add to what, you know, her disappearance will likely happen. There's no confirmed eyewitnesses, but investigators piece together likely scenarios. The vault theory. Emmeline may have been locked inside a soundproof vault where Holmes cut off the oxygen, pumped gas into the room. This method gave him control, silence, and no visible struggle to others. Theory 2 is the gas room chamber. One of the specially designed rooms connected to the gas lines, and just like a slow suffocation.
Asphyxiation.
And like you said, the how he got rid of the bodies, likely sent her down a chute, taken to the basement, and then for disposal, the acid vats or the lime pits.
Yeah. I thought I remembered seeing that.
Yeah.
The closest I can think of is like Sweeney Todd.
Kinda,
He would just
sorta,
slit their
yeah.
throats and send them down a chute, and then she would make them into pies.
Yep.
Like, this is what he's doing.
Bet you those pies are so good.
I'm not going to edit that out.
Probably slapped. And we'll talk about one more murder here. The Pitzel family murders.
I was going to talk about the Minnie and Nanny Williams murders because that one's kind of interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
But so the story goes, and he tells it multiple ways. I'll just kind of touch on what he claimed to have happened, which was that Minnie Williams moved to Chicago and they started having a relationship. And then her younger sister, Nanny Williams, came to visit, and she also fell in love with H.H. Holmes. So at some point, he claims that, I forget if it was Nanny or Minnie, beat the other one to death with a stool to be with him. When it turns out he just killed them both.
Yeah.
Like, you can't make that shit up. I mean, he did, I guess, but it's like, what the fuck, man?
How do I fabricate a story?
Like, his idea of, I'm going to make myself look good. She beat the shit out of her and killed her with a stool for my affection.
Yeah.
How does that make you look like the good guy here?
Yeah, right. Like, you're just a piece of shit. Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that one, because that one's pretty, exact. It's very cookie cutter in terms of H.A. Holmes, where he wines, dines, and 69s them until they fall in love, and then kills them and drops them in the body chute.
Gotcha. The last one we'll talk about then are the Pitzel family murders. And this one is especially dark for Holmes. Like, they all have been.
And Pitzel is the one that I talked about earlier,
where
this all starts falling apart for him.
Yep. So we have Benjamin Pitzel, who he was he was a carpenter and a small time con man. So he's kind of in on the con schemes that H.H. Holmes. He's kind of like he's in on it. Yep. He meets H.H. Holmes and becomes a partner in his fraud schemes. He struggled financially and had a wife and had 5 children. The dynamic between them is Holmes was the mastermind, but Pitzel was desperate and easily influenced. He wasn't just the victim, he was initially in on the scams, which makes the betrayal even darker. The insurance scam that turned real. The plan was he was going to fake Pitzel's death, collect $10,000 in life insurance, which was huge money in the 1890s, split the money. Holmes' role was to set up a fake identity and handle the legal and insurance details. The betrayal comes in where Holmes actually kills Pitzel. In Philly, Holmes doesn't fake the death. He kills Pitzel for real.
Yes.
Likely method.
That was the only part when the guy wrote the message to the police chief. He was like, hey, look into this shit. Everything else lined up perfectly because Holmes said that he was just going to get a body from the morgue and stage Pitzel's death.
Yeah.
And when they did forensics on him, they're like, "Oh, this isn't a guy. This is actually him. This is actually Pitzel." So that was the only thing that didn't line up with the exact thing that he had said.
Likely what happened was Pitzel was rendered unconscious, possibly from chloroform, then staged the body to look like an accident, an explosion. Afterwards, Holmes collects or attempts to collect the insurance money, lies to Pitzel's wife, Carrie Pitzel, saying that Benjamin is alive and the plan is still in motion. From there, Holmes starts separating the family. This is key to like how he was able to do this. The 3 children he takes: Alice Pitzel, Nellie Pitzel, and Howard Pitzel. He tells Carrie he's protecting them. They'll be reunited soon. But in reality, he's just isolating them so he can control and eliminate them one by one.
He was like town hopping with them.
Yeah, kind of jumping around. Yeah.
And so what I had read was that he was town hopping with them, and he would sometimes, when they got to the town that he was supposedly they're gonna meet their dad. Like, oh, you just missed him. Oh, he's gonna meet you at the next town. Like, this is. You just got here a little too late, but he's just ahead of us.
Yep.
And sometimes the family was 3 streets away from each other, and they had no idea that they were close in the same city. So it really goes to show, like, this was a smooth talking son of a bitch.
Yeah, but like Taylor had mentioned, he moves the children across multiple cities using aliases constantly. Keeps them in separate locations from their mom. The kids are, at this point likely confused but trusting. Believed Holmes is helping the family. And then, of course, the murders come through where he kills Howard Pitzel first. The body is discovered in a house in Indianapolis. Likely method, he poisoned or gassed them. He then kills Alice and Nellie Pitzel. Holmes travels with them to Canada. Keeps them in hotels under fake names, traps them in a house in Toronto, and then Holmes sealed them in a trunk, fixated them with gas. When their bodies were found, they were discovered to be decomposed inside the trunk. This was one of the most haunting images tied to Holmes' crime. So at this point, he's already murdered Pearl, the little girl.
Yep.
But then, these are 3 other children that he's murdered. So, he's
got a fixation with women and children.
Yeah. Yep. But then how it led to his capture, insurance investigators started growing suspicious. The Pinkerton National Detective Agency was brought in. Detective Frank Gayer tracked Holmes across cities, followed paper trails, and then eventually that led to his capture down the road.
Holmes's murder spree finally ended when he was arrested in Boston on November 17th, 1894, after being tracked there from Philadelphia by the Pinkerton Detective Agency. He was held on an outstanding warrant for horse theft in Texas because the authorities had become more suspicious at this point, and Holmes appeared poised to flee the country in the company of his unsuspecting third wife. In July 1895, following the discovery of Alice and Nellie's bodies, Chicago police and reporters began investigating Holmes's building in Inglewood, now locally referred to as the Castle. Though many sensational claims were made, no evidence was found which could have convicted Holmes in Chicago. There was only very circumstantial physical evidence of the Castle victims: a piece of human bone possibly from Julia Connor, remains of a child, possibly Pearl Connor, a burned gold watch chain, and a burned dress button, apparently belonging to Minnie Williams, and a tuft of human female hair found in a chimney flue. Thus, Holmes would be tried for the murder of the Fitzels in Philadelphia, which had the clearest case for murder. In October of 1895, Holmes was put on trial for the murder of Benjamin Pitzel and was found guilty and sentenced to death. By then, it was evidence Holmes had also murdered the 3 missing Pitzel children, and following his conviction, Holmes confessed to 27 murders in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto, and 6 attempted murders. Holmes was paid $7,500 by the Hearst newspaper in exchange for his confession. While writing his confessions in prison, Holmes mentioned how drastically his facial appearance had changed since his imprisonment. On May 7, 1896, Holmes was hanged at Myominsing Prison for the murder of Fitzell. Until the moment of his death, Holmes remained calm and amiable, showing very few signs of fear, anxiety, or depression. Despite this, he asked for his coffin to be contained in concrete and buried 10 feet deep because he was concerned body snatchers would steal his body and use it for dissection, the same thing he was doing to other bodies. Talk about hypocrisy.
Interesting.
Holmes's neck did not break. He instead strangled to death slowly, twitching for over 15 minutes before being pronounced dead. Upon his execution, Holmes's body was interred in an unmarked grave at Holy Cross Cemetery, a Catholic cemetery in the Philadelphia western suburb of Yedden, Pennsylvania. And on New Year's Eve 1909, Hedgepeth, who had been pardoned for informing on Holmes, was shot and killed by police officer Edward Gerberek during a holdup at a Chicago bar. It's crazy. The guy that he confessed his crimes to
ends up getting killed years later. Yeah.
So basically, Holmes is telling the police about his face changing. He believed that he was possessed by the devil. This was his story.
Yeah, it was like
Have you ever watched Dexter? His dark passenger. This is basically what's been controlling him the whole time.
Yeah.
Is this dark person that's been with him since birth. And he claimed to have killed 27 people in his confessionals, but then 20 of the people that he had claimed to kill came forward and were like, no, we're still alive. No. This guy was a pathological liar up until the very moment of his death, which is
piece of shit.
Just insane. The last thing I want to touch on is they did actually exhume his body in 2017.
Oh, did they really?
They did. That's because there's allegations that Holmes had escaped execution and Holmes's body was exhumed for testing because, like I had mentioned, they thought that he had fled the country and became Jack the Ripper. So they were like, well, let's dig him up and make sure he's still there. Due to his coffin being contained in concrete, they actually had two coffins. One was a fake one because he was afraid of people finding him. So they opened the first one and there's no body in there. Could you imagine the look of those people when they open this empty coffin? Like, oh shit, where the fuck is he? But due to his coffin being contained in concrete, his body was found to not have decomposed normally. His clothes were almost perfectly preserved and his mustache was found to still be intact. The body was positively identified by his teeth, and being that of Holmes, he was then reburied. So the concrete slowed down the decomposition, so he still looked like a person, kind of, except that he was a skeleton.
I wonder if they took any pictures of him.
I don't know. I didn't see any. I also didn't look it up.
Yeah, that's interesting, though. So, what are your thoughts on H.H. Holmes?
This shit's crazy.
Yeah.
I really didn't expect what I was going to find in this research.
I didn't say anything. I was like, oh yeah, just let him go down that rabbit hole. let him find out.
I mean, to be able to manipulate that many people, you got to give credit where it's due. I can't believe he was that charming and that suave that he could manipulate that many people. Or was it just the times? Were they so desperate? Were they less informed as it goes to show?
You find cracks in people's, their emotional armor and stuff like that. I'm sure you could exploit it in any way. Yeah. So if you're smart and you're calculated and you're calculating like that, you could. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he manipulated as many people as he did.
Yeah,
he had a specific target that he went after.
Yeah, and I forgot until just now when they exhumed his body, they weren't quite sure it was him to begin with because Holmes was identified as being an average height for a person back then, 5'8".
Yeah.
When they exhumed him, they found he was actually only 5'3". He'd been wearing lifts in his shoes to make him appear taller.
Oh my God.
So even his height was a lie.
Yeah.
Just crazy. And then the yellow journalism, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically what modern journalism is now.
Yeah.
Where it's all about the headline. They don't actually care if the truth is in the article. It's all about the attention grabbers.
Yeah.
So they would make up stories. Even back then, you could just go into this castle because there was no police force there to be like, hey, you can't be in here. This is a crime scene. They would just break in and try to find out what they could find. And if they didn't find these torture chambers or body flumes and stuff like that, they would just make it up and say that it was all in there anyway.
Yeah.
So that definitely started the modern news reporting where it's all about attention grabbing headlines and it doesn't matter what you say if it's true or not. So I thought that was really something interesting as well.
Yeah.
That H.H. Holmes caused this sensationalized media that just wants to put out whatever. It's like a National Enquirer or anything like that. But now it's bleeding into regular legitimate news sources that journalism's just like that now.
Yeah.
So you really got to dig.
Mm-hmm.
All because of H.H. Holmes.
Dude was a total jerk.
Beyond the grave, he is influencing culture.
Well, good. I'm glad you were able to like kind of do some digging and
that was a fun episode.
Be exposed to the world of H.H. Holmes.
That dirty lying son of a bitch.
That scumbag. Awful. Awful.
But what's not awful is you guys hanging around for this episode of Shadows and Sightings. We appreciate everybody out there listening. We hope that you're enjoying the show. And as I mentioned at the top of the episode, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Shadows and Sightings, a paranormal podcast, Instagram, Shadows and Sightings pod, or on Gmail, shadowsandsightings@gmail.com. Send us an email about anything and everything you want to talk about. Comment on our posts. We're going to start doing the open forum cryptid corners. So if you've got a good story or anything has happened to you, it can be anonymous. Just shoot us a message. You don't have to say what your name is if you don't want anybody to know, but we'd be happy to feature your stories on the show. So with all that being said, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Shadows and Sightings, and we'll see you next time when we talk about all things spooky.